Hey guys, welcome to SA Cricket Magazine weekly show. I'm your host Khalid Mohidin, and today we're going to talk about the Mzansi Super League, South Africa's first T20 competition, our version of the IPL, so let's hope that we can get it off and running and smooth. Faf du Plessis spoke about it and he said that he's happy with the fact that South Africa have started their own tournament, but there's going to be a few hurdles along the way. I brought in Alistair Fraser and SA Cricket Magazine editor Simon Lewis, and we're going to discuss some of the perks about the tournament. We're going to talk about some of the rookie players, some of the marquee players, some of the players missing out because of the T10. And they're going to each pick their favorite team to possibly win it, and maybe some other teams that are actually dark horses in the tournament. So I'm going to start with you, Simon. What team do you pick out maybe as the main team in this tournament?
Well, I'm going for the easy one, the Chinese Spartans. You can't go wrong with them. AB, Ian Morgan, Lungi Ngidi, just absolutely fantastic. Jivan Mendes as well, really good player. He's got a economy rate of 7.11 in T20Is and 7.19 in normal T matches. Terrific player. Lungi Ngidi, you can't say enough about him. He alone is a match winner. He's fantastic in T20s. And AB de Villiers, if he comes back, Mr. 360, he could really do the business for them. They've got a lot of other good players down the line. Dean Elgar can maybe also help shore up the innings if they get in a bit of trouble up top. So I think they've got a really strong side. It's an easy pick, but to me, they're the obvious favourites for the tournament.
So, Simon, I've seen that Lungi Ngidi is one of those players, Proteas players. They're going to possibly, because of the Australia series, they're going to possibly miss the first game. Obviously, with the T20 happening on the 17th, so maybe some of them will miss the T20 and come down earlier. We don't know, but at least one match they'll possibly miss. So Lutisi Pamela was one of the rookies that were brought into the team, maybe as a replacement for Lungi while he's out. Do you think that was a good pick for them to pick someone like him?
I think it is, yeah. I mean, it's obviously a big shoes to fill, but give him a chance and see what he can do. And this is what T20 is all about: is giving these younger players, these local players, African players as well, a chance to shine and to see what they can do.
Obviously, some of my concerns about it is obviously them picking Dean Elgar and Jonas de Bruyn, two test players. Do you think they'll be able to turn it up in the T20 format? And were you puzzled by their decision to pick those two players as their Proteas players?
Initially, it was quite a surprise. Quality batsmen, that they're always good to make runs. You've got AB and Ian Morgan at the top, so potentially they're the guys who might add some stability. Dean Elgar's really been struggling recently. Maybe this is what he needs to get himself back in the runs, is just to have a bit of freedom with the T20s.
I mean, the one benefit obviously that they have is the fact that their Proteas marquee player will be playing the entire tournament, AB de Villiers. What do you think about AB? Do you think...
He's not a bad player.
Yeah, I mean... Do you think that this is a legitimate chance for him to maybe put up his hand for a World Cup position? There's a lot of rumours going around. I mean, Faf came out and he said that he kind of threw cold water on the whole idea of him being... Yeah. Because there were rumours flying around that the fact that he might be on the staff and not maybe as a player. Yeah. And Faf du Plessis kind of went against that and said, he dismissed those rumours and said, no, there's no way that you'll be in the management team or the coaching team. Yeah. You'll most likely be a player if he had to be picked. They would only want him as a player, not just there throwing balls.
He'd be good at throwing balls. I mean, he's good at everything he does. I don't think there's any point to have someone like AB coming in so soon after playing. And maybe there's some issues within the team as well. Maybe people won't be happy that he's back out of everything and now he's suddenly back sort of helping or guiding them. So I can't see that happening, but I can see it the way he's being paid for him to maybe make an announcement or for CSA to say they've asked him somehow or other. I think AB is going to come back in the picture very soon as a player. I think the T20 series, Mzansi Super League, that is not his trial, but that's going to sort of set him up for the public to just really call for him to come back. I think this tournament is really perfectly timed from when he retired to now for him actually to slip back in.
So Alistair, I'm going to move over to you. What team do you pick out as the top team in this tournament?
Well, for me, the most balanced squad is the Durban Heat squad. You've got a nice blend of youth, you've got experience. I mean, Hashim Amla, David Miller, Heinrich Klaassen, Carl Abbott, Maharaj, Zondo, Albie Morkel, those are like key players that can win you a game, especially Albie Morkel. He's been on the circuit for quite a long time. And obviously Hashim Amla, he won't be playing against Australia, so they'll have good kind of a beginning right from the start, a player that will be there from the beginning. You've got players that are going to be coming in and out of the team. There'll be Rashid Khan from Afghanistan. He comes in after the T10. So there's a blend there that will certainly take that team forward and have young heads there that will learn a lot from the Albie Morkels, the Kai Zondos. Morne van Wyk's also a very key T20 player that adds value
Yeah, and we've actually seen that they've went with Mavuta, a spinner from Zimbabwe. He showed some of his class in the series against South Africa. They've also went with Kashyap Maharaj as a spinner, and as well they have Rashid Khan. So they have three spinners in their side. Do you think that's a key in T20s, spinners and maybe those medium fast bowlers?
Absolutely. If you're going full pace, it'll be easier to hit the ball, especially up in Joburg and Pretoria. So you've got those spinners working there, and Rashid Khan joining the team later on might have a big impact. At the end, the tail end of the overs. Maharaj, for me, will be one of their standout players.
Around about in the first two games, with David Miller and Heinrich Klaassen most likely going to be out, who do you think will step up in their shoes?
I think it's a perfect opportunity for Kai Zonda to step up, show that he's there, cement the role. So when the two older heads come back in the team, he's well set. He can provide support to them when they come in, but also learn a lot. Because obviously Hashim Amla's there, there'll be structure at the top of the innings. And a guy like Zonda, and obviously Albie Morkel, who he'll come in at 6 or 7, will smash it there. There's quite a few big hitters in the side like Sarayevi and Albie Morkel. They'll be able to take Durban Heat towards the end. Maybe they're chasing totals, or say hitting big high totals. They'll carry them through.
Okay, so we also know about the transformation, guys. So the transformation rules about this tournament is that 2 black players have to play in every single match. How do you think this has affected some of the teams? Has it worked in their favor, actually?
It's definitely a positive thing. I think it makes it difficult because if you have something specific where you've got to have a certain amount of players, and it can make it difficult to get your players right or to fill that mix. And sometimes you can have a position where maybe you're forced to have someone in who maybe you'd rather have another player. But that's just part of the game. I think transformation is absolutely important. We've got to have it. But I think, Alistair, you were talking about how something related to the IPL, which is very important with this whole issue of transformation, having two African players on the field at all time.
Yeah, I think just with the IPL, you had specific homegrown Indian players that had to be in the squad, and I think that with this we'll have an opportunity for those players to showcase what they can do, gain experience, get the exposure, and build on their careers, and hopefully we'll see the fruits of that in the next 5-6 years of this tournament going forward.
So I think this will also help some of the rookie guys in the side, like Sidite Bekoshile. He's a young Warriors batsman. He's really upcoming a wicketkeeper batsman. This will give them some chances to actually show their worth. And like we've seen Rishabh Pant, for example, come out of the IPL and do exceptionally well, and now he's playing in the Test side and doing exceptionally well too. So maybe this tournament is a chance for some players to put up their hands for international duties, SAA, maybe SAA emerging, and go through that system. So guys, so we know that the Proteas have been talking about the experimental phase, and that this November tour to Australia is the last time for them to actually experiment. Can you give me some of the players that you guys think that will maybe be able to put up their hand for ODI selection? Because we know that, if I've said 85% of the team is ready, they'll most likely know who their squad is before the Pakistan tour, when Pakistan come down there.
I think sadly for the bowlers, there's very little chance because our bowling lineup is so strong. It's going to be almost impossible to get in as a bowler unless someone's injured. So our bowlers are, they're basically sorted. So that means that it's up to the batsmen. And we've got a great batting lineup, but the guys aren't really firing. So, to me, there are obviously a lot of fringe guys. Someone like maybe Fahar Berdin. But aside from the fringe guys, I'd say someone like Pait van Bouillon of the Knights. He's someone who maybe just can come through. His record's not astounding in T20s, but he's a good hitter, strong batsman. He's 32 or so. It's the perfect time for him to just, go out there and grab it. Marco Morea is got a strike rate of 150. He's sort of come out of nowhere. Potentially, it's hard to say that he's got what it takes to step up the international stage, but this tournament might just be the time that he shows himself. Yaneman Malan as well, another player who very experienced and got all the credentials. He just needs opportunity. If he gets a chance in the MSL, he takes it and proves himself. He's in the public spotlight. And I think when the public get behind a player now, that's going to be the key for me, that the selectors might struggle then to leave a player out if the public are already pushing for that, and that'll include AB de Villiers. Talk about what the 12th player, the crowd is the 12th player. In terms of selections, I think the crowd's going to become the 3rd or 4th selector.
And we spoke about this, the T10, Alistair, that is going to obviously affect a lot of players. It's in that middle period from the 22nd of November till about the 2nd of December. Some players will miss the beginning part of this tournament, and some players will miss the end of this tournament. So what I want to ask you is how the T10 is going to affect this league, especially with some of the international marquee players. So maybe some of the players can step up, and that's a nice chance for some of the youngsters to step up in their positions.
Yeah, absolutely. For me, the way these breaks are happening and the Pro is playing against Australia, it's almost like it's a 1/3, 2/3, 3/3 scenario. But the business end of the competition, just for me, is a team like the Jersey Stars. With Chris Gayle coming in at the end, you've got other players in the Jersey Stars that are not big hitters, but they might show their worth that's there. And there's obviously an open space there for Reza Hendricks to showcase as an opener what big hitting skills that he has. So then when Chris Gayle comes in, he could be partnering him towards the end if they make a push for the title or the final.
So guys, we're coming to the end of our video. I just want to ask you one last question. Some of the dark horses or wild cards in this tournament, a wild card maybe from a team's perspective, and maybe 1 or 2 wild card players.
For me, the Cape Town Blitz are interesting. They've got quite a youngish side, but Asif Ali's really good. He's got a strike rate of 160 in T20 internationals. David Milan as well, they specifically wanted him because they wanted someone, Ashwell was saying in the press conference, that they want someone from the start of the tournament. That just shows really good thinking, as opposed to, Rashid Khan, he's the man, you've got to take him, he's the first choice. But actually, let's get someone to be there for the whole time. So they've got some quite good thinking around what they're doing. To me, though, I think just a little bit further out, away from Cape Town, Paul Rocks. I think they really are the team. If I was going to put money on it, I'm not a betting man, I'd say I'd go for Paul Rocks because Dwayne Bravo, astounding, yeah. He got Faf as well. He was huge in the IPL, the last IPL. De Bruy's really good. He travelled far in Zimbabwe or against Zimbabwe, but he's a really good player. Dane Patterson, also very good. Aiden Markram, fantastic player. And then they've got Paul Sterling as well, who could, he can also blow hot and cold, but when he blows hot, he's quite a player. And then Cameron Delport, a big fan of Cameron Delport. He's got a strike rate of 137, which is pretty good. He's also scored 300s and 1850s in T20s. So he's a man who knows how to put the runs on the board. I think between all of them, it's a bit of a mixed team. Vaughan van Jaarsveld, also a great player. A bit of a mixed team in a way, in terms of, the Chinese Spartans are quite Titans-based and Cape Town Blitz are quite Cobras-based. So Paul Rocks is a bit of a mix of everyone, but I think they're a really, really strong side. They wouldn't be an automatic favourite, I don't think, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't get to the final. So
Alistair, who are some of the teams that you think is going to stand out besides the ones that you picked already, and some of the players that are dark horses in this?
Well, I said earlier with Jersey Stars, obviously they've got a lack of big hitters, but they've got stroke players. They've got like Dane Villiers, and they've obviously got great bowlers. You've got Rabada, you've got Dwayne Olivier, who obviously opened the bowling, and Simon Harmer, which is a key player. He takes wickets, he may contain the runs. But for a wildcard Protea player, I'd like to think that Robbie Frayling should have an opportunity to play ODIs, because in the T20s he's played, he hasn't had a chance to bat. And he's more of for me, he's not a bowling all-rounder, and he could come in at 6 and he could be a wildcard. He is a veteran, so to speak, but you might need guys that have got more experience going into a World Cup than blooding a youngster who hasn't got much experience and that may not be able to handle the big pressure situations.
So guys, thanks for watching, and I would like to know what you guys think about the tournament, about the Mzansi Super League. Leave your teams that you will be supporting in the comment section below. Also name some of the players that you're excited to see, some international marquee players, some Proteas players, maybe even a rookie that you think is going to stand out in this tournament. Keep an eye out for some of the polls that we're going to have on Instagram, on Twitter and on Facebook. And also I would like you guys to like, share and follow us on all our platforms. Thanks guys.